Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Steve with Census Bedellium coming at you at 9:31 p.m. February 23rd, 2026, in the year of our Lord, St. Peter Damian Day. If you don't know who much about him, check him out on if you look on X, I got him up on there. YouTube, if you go on the playlist for under February, you'll see if you scroll down to the 23rd, 4 or 5 different ones on him. He did not live in the good times. They were the bad. There was sodomatic priests running around all over the place at that time. So if you think we're the only time that has had bad priests, bad bishops, the history may not repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. Anybody that thinks we're the only ones that have gone through any kind of issues like this clearly has no clue about the history of the church. And that's kind of like a problem. We've actually, before we get on, there was one time I was doing the Eucharistic Congress in Charlotte, and this lady comes up and this is during Francis' time. She's just losing her mind about things. Her husband asked me to talk to her. It's like, okay, tell me what's up. And she's telling me, I go, all right, fine. Who said the following quote? Isn't it something to profit off the was profit off the superstition of this religion? She goes, who said that? Some heretic. Pope Leo was it Pope Leo X? I think it was Leo X. I haven't looked that up again. I think it's Leo X. And I said, what about the synod, the synod, Cadaver Synod? What is that? And I told her about the Fulgentius, Pope Fulgentius, and Pope Stephen, and Stephen putting Fulgentius up on the chair, dug his dead body up and put him on the chair to condemn him, and then cut his fingers off, threw him in the river, and then had the next guy excommunicate the last guy, or reneged all the ordinations of the next guy, and the next guy reneged all the ordinations of the last one. So just a bloody mess. And her face was like, I've never heard of this. Like, yeah. Imagine CNN or Twitter with that one going on. Could you imagine a Cadaver Synod with social media? Great googly moogly. You talk about a laughing stock of the world. The memes would be insane. But no, yes, I'm not saying it's to roll over and do nothing on this or be up, everything. I'm not saying Barney the dinosaur or everything's super. Thanks for asking. But hey, just kind of be at peace. We've gone through things that are probably even worse. I mean, yes, it's bad. It's only really bad now because you know about everything that happens every second of the day, especially in Rome. The Pope sneezes or a bishop sneezes the wrong way, you know about it. A bishop in somewhere in the bush in, I don't know, Africa or some remote place in Brazil that you would never ever heard of 30 years ago, you don't even heard of it. Now you don't even hear of it. You get it in HD in real time. Probably 40 years ago, you asked somebody in the Catholic Church that lives in, I don't know, let's say Virginia, Maine. Hey, who's the bishop down in somewhere in Brazil? They go like, I don't know. No clue. Now, all you got to do is type it in. Which bad bishop you want to find out? Oh, there's a terrible one in Australia or something. Great. Not that it's great, but like, what are you going to know about? If I live in North Carolina. Mom's supposed to be upset about something going on in Australia. No offense to you people in Australia. We would pray for that, yes. But how's that affect? But we're so connected and so 24/7, 365. We got to know everything that's going on exactly right off the bat. That it's not. We don't even know what's going on here. Like case in point, South Carolina, the abortion bill. Nobody's talking about that. Anyways, get right to it. Well, it goes into the Mexican thing too. I was thinking about this today, saying that, if we didn't know about the 24/7 social media, you would never know there was anything going on in Mexico. Or, as this thing right here, you would not know that Bibi got the golden ticket. He's got the golden ticket. It's the key to the country. All I could think of was Nelly. I couldn't think of anything else besides Nelly. I am the king of this city. With Bibi on this, I played Nelly, but do you guys?
Myself and the First Lady to Prime Minister and the First Lady of Israel, and it's a key. We call it a key to the White House, and it's a key to our country and to our hearts. Give it
key to the country. Bibi got the key to the country. Boss comes in. And funny, somebody brought up to me was don't forget, because well, let me see if I can pull it up. Netanyahu gives Trump gift. You remember him giving him the gift? Remember the pager? See if I can say gives Trump pager. See if I can. Yeah, here's the golden pager that Netanyahu gifted Trump. Remember, because of the great operation about the pagers exploding. Maybe that was a reminder that he could explode them too. Because remember, every time the babies come in, they go. We got bugs all over the place. Bibi gives Trump an exploding pager, or Trump gives him the keys to quote unquote country. You wonder where Melania sleeps when Bibi comes over. In the Peter Damian spirit of what's going on right now. Yes, Heather. Yes, market's off. So it's not, the Dow isn't at 50,000. The market's off right now with the tariff thing. If anything would happen, it should destroy a lot of things. We'll talk more about it, but notice the individuals aren't getting any money off it. We paid extra for all that stuff, and all the money's going back to the corporations. Yay! Kind of like another money grab, another move of the money, all that. This was just outstandingly weird. This happened the other day here. This is NBC News, local news in South Carolina too. Circles in the sky. Reported in parts of South Carolina and Georgia. Georgia. Here, let me play her, because you don't see this that often in local media. They don't usually talk about what's in the sky. I try my best to, when they start painting, I'll start asking people, hey man, what is that? You see that? And there's lines all over the place. I've never seen the circle.
Did you see those circles in the sky today? A lot of viewers reaching out asking what was causing them. They do look like contrails, but those are typically line shaped. So we are working to find out why these are circles.
Cheers. Usually they're contrails because they're straight lines. Yeah, contrail would evaporate in about 30 seconds.
We spoke with Lockheed Martin, and they say they have not done any flight testing today.
Look, there's more circles over there. It's not just one. There's that thing circle.
Today, we will, of course, keep you updated as we learn more.
They spoke to Lockheed about it. Circles in the sky. You see the lines all over the place. They do look like contrails, but contrails are typically line-shaped. Also, chemtrails are that too. But hey, we don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about, hey, they're painting the sky, poisoning the skies on us. You see the temperature right there. It's 36 degrees, or it's right now currently, according to the temp on the computer screen, 29 degrees at 9:39 p.m. It's supposed to drop. And 3 days ago, 75. I wore a t-shirt outside. Today, it was the Arctic showed up, just up and down, up and down. You put these, you blast this stuff in the skies, the weather goes out of whack. That's why one of the things I'm looking for in the garden are things that can adapt, that can do the extremes and all this. Not because most of the trees can't do it. You say a peach tree, that's what it always happens every time here. 60, 70 degrees, the peach tree starts waking up. You get the beautiful flowers, comes up, cold front comes in, kills it all. They say we're in a drought right here, but you go outside, your foot sinks because it's been raining. I don't know where's this lack of water at in here. We're supposed to be in a drought, but if you want to dig something, you can dig it around it, and it's soft out there. A bit about the Ford is old news. The bit about the Ford is old news. Diana, what you mean? I'm sorry, I missed that joke. The bit about the Ford is old news. What you mean? Here's CorbettReport.com came out today. U.S. real versus the world on KLA TV. James Corbett appears in 2 separate interviews on KLA.TV. In the first, he discusses how the U.S.-Israeli relationship explains Uncle Sam's moves in the Middle East and how technocracy explains the so-called Don Road doctrine. In the second, he goes in depth on the Epstein files and what they reveal about the operations of the castocracy. Yeah. And here's from last year. What is technocracy? If you don't know what technocracy is, check it out because it's a good explanation on it, obviously with all the show notes to go with it, because you need to know that because it's happening in real time in front of our eyes. I'll play this just because it's so bad. This is Newsmax.
Foundation, go to any church or government building, the cornerstone is most often visible. It's not usually buried in some dark subterranean corner of the foundation, never to be seen. It is the stone from which the building springs upward. There can be no doubt, however, that the building that became Western political thought and therefore the free world was built on a foundation of Judaism. Without millennia of Jewish faith and struggle, there is no Christianity. The foundation is an often unseen and much smaller.
That's a different Judaism than I'm aware of. I didn't know the rabbinical Judaism was what you're talking
component
about,
of the
or Talmudic
Judaism, but it is nonetheless completely indispensable. After thousands of years of war and diaspora, Israel represents the enduring presence of Jews in the Holy Land and the protection of that biblical history. Communists and Islamists understand the critical nature of Jews and Judaism to human society. It's fundamental. That's why they attack Judaism, not just Israel, and they want to see it erased from the Middle East.
I can't go on much more with them. You want to
Israel is therefore not just a political jurisdiction. It is a representation of Jewish political, economic, and spiritual power that is related to Christianity and related to Western society and the free world. The jihadists and the Marxists both know that a building unsupported by its foundation will crumble. If Judaism is broken through the erasure of Jews from the Middle East, which is the goal of the Palestinians and the radical Islamists, then Christianity will also become more vulnerable.
Boy, this guy is just, he got his $7,000 check. I can't do it anymore. I was going to try to keep it going, but it's torturous on my end. I'm sure it is on yours. My apologies. Speaking of, here's Hold My Beer. Forgot about that. And you think one's nuttier. We're going to be a 10-hour show. It's going to be that. I just know it is.
Destroy us. And yet here we are, and we have this amazing piece, deal on Charlie Kirk's birthday. I can't tell you how many things are lining up. I mean, think about the fact that this book came out on Charlie Kirk's birthday on the same day as we have peace in the Middle East. I mean, so many different factors are all coming together at once in the most unthinkable, unbelievable journey. You couldn't have scripted this. You could not, the wildest author could not have scripted.
Somebody's scripting it.
This book and the trials and tribulations and twists and turns to get to where we are today. And look how much better humanity and our world is. We're saving Christianity. We're saving God. We're saving
Christianity. We're saving God.
Family unit. We're saving this nation. I mean, DEI is out the window, Benny. I mean, you no longer have Colin Kaepernick kneeling for the national, for the national anthem. You no longer have, a Budweiser going woke as hell, or all of this is dead. And yet, what do we have? We have a return to people going to church. We have a return to people, valuing their children and valuing society and believing in the white picket fence and what the American dream represents and what the American dream stands for, and American exceptionalism and peace around the world, and that people can coexist.
Peace around the world, American dream. Yeah. You can't buy a house. I can't buy a house. I can't find that American dream. Peace in the Middle East. About to go to war.
With one another without having to, pick up arms and destroy each other for no reason whatsoever, other than incompetent and and egotistical governments. It's a beautiful time, and he will go to heaven for all of that. God absolutely guided this journey in ways that, You know, you'll learn it under siege. I mean, it's a big part of this.
Oh, he's canonizing Kirk right now. That's what it's going. I was like, who's going in? Was it? Oh yeah, Kirk's like Saint Charlie Kirk himself. That's what it is. I was sleeping. Well, Amy, nightmares can be dreams too. Just because they say it's a dream, I mean it's not real. Yeah, they are saving us. They're saving God. They're saving. Wow. Mississippi Queen. Dun, 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 dun. Know what I mean. Mississippi House passes bill to ban mail order abortion pills. The measure passed with a 77-39 vote will now be taken up by the Mississippi Senate. Good job on down there in Mississippi. This is federalism right there again. Oh, look at all the federal. All the time I have a federalism wins every time we do a show, and people fight me about it all the time. By the way, the state of the what is tomorrow? State of the country, right? No. State. What is it? State of the nation? No. Blasted. What is it? Oh, it's the State of the Union address tomorrow. Right, State of the Union. Why is it a union? Because it's a union of states. A union of countries, a union of republics, a union of nation states, not one single country. If it was, it'd be the State of the Country address, but it's the State of the Union. So I hate winning every time this time comes around. I always keep that up, and it usually ticks off everyone because I say, "Hey, what is that? State of the country address?" No. The State of the state address is at the state level. The state equals country. The State of the state address, they do the state of whatever state you're in. State of the Union, even though nowadays it's just a political speech anymore. Tomorrow it will be no less the same. It's getting worse and worse. Jefferson, here's how it was back in the day. He pretty much wrote a letter, gave it to the Congress. They read it, bomb, done. Now you're going to see the king tomorrow, just like any other. You see Obama, you see Brandon, you see Bush. All hell, the pomp and circumstance that comes out during it. Tell me that we don't have an elected monarch by watching that, and then say that's not a monarch. That's not no. It's just a regular dude. Yeah. Mississippi Queen. DHS reverses course on suspending TSA PreCheck after outcry because that was one of the things. They didn't get done with TSA. They banned they got rid of TSA PreCheck because they were using it because the shutdown is going on. Well, we'll cancel PreCheck. Make all the people with money have to go through the regular TSA and get the porno scan and you fill up and all that. So let's get rid of the PreCheck, which will get people upset because you pay money for that. And that will get people, if you cancel TSA, nobody's going to care. They'll celebrate it. People will be partying in the middle of the airports. Hey, TSA's down. Because remember the one time they had an opt-out day, guess what happened? Hey, nobody did any of that stuff. No one got hurt either, did they? It's all about control. Trump working with the fantastic governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry. We are going to send a great hospital boat to Greenland to take care of the many people who are sick and not be able to take care of them and not being taken care of there. It's on the way, President DJT. Nothing says America first as in taking a government boat, using taxpayer money, and going to Greenland to help people that are in Greenland. There's an America first idea. Which hospital ships? Hospital ship to Greenland. Actual U.S. healthcare leads Greenland. Some of the memes are always outstanding. Yeah. Having all the Americans that can't afford health insurance again, and that's because of the government. That's because of that federal government. You have Medicare, Medicaid, Medicare at the federal level, Medicaid at the state level. Medicare pretty much tells all the insurance companies what to do and what price they're going to sell. I mean, literally, that's if you look at the Medicare price, that's what they donates the LCOs. They dish out the LCOs, they make the prices. More for Medicare, I think things will be a lot cheaper. But what do I know? I'm supposed to be a centralist. Gen X girls, say what you will about the United Kingdom, but so far they've arrested 2 people because of the Epstein files, Prince Andrew and Lord Peter Mandelson. Meanwhile, here in the United States, Trump gives the keys of the White House to and the U.S. to Netanyahu. So yeah, they're up to 2 now. Again, the other guy, what's his face? This is Peter Mandelson. There was another guy got arrested. He got let go. Oh well, my bad, Feather. I missed. Yeah, spent by the state, so I misspoke. But yeah, all the Medicare and Medicaid. I mean, you get rid of government insurance, things would be a lot better. Gen X scroll. Let's examine the rise of Christian Zionism using the universal law of game theory. I watched this fascinating lecture on it, but when I saw YouTube force the channel to remove the video, shocker, I thought it was time to amplify it with an article. So I guess if I play this, I will probably get this taken down. So the link is in the show notes. I'll post it up over here too for you. Probably be on Rumble. Let me see. Source the article. Oh, she's got a Substack. All right. Well, anyway, either way, unfortunately, it looks like YouTube forced Jang's channel to remove his video on his lecture by placing it here because the lecture was my main source. Okay, so there's 17-minute one too. Yeah, Darby, Schofield. I've seen this one. There's the 8th Front Roar. Brought this up long ago, a couple months ago, actually. October. Yeah, Gen X Girl did it in October. Yeah. Not too many people talk about that. Yeah, more on there. So this whole thread is in the show notes. So check that out. Send it around to others. Watch the video. I'll check out the YouTube chat. I'll take out let me see if I'll play it. Let's see. How long is this one? Video unavailable. Yep. So the guy took it down. Thanks, you, boob. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says that his people are currently working on declassifying information about aliens.
UFO and UAP files. I mean, did you ever think that you would be the Secretary of War in charge of potentially declassifying extraterrestrial life? The American people.
I did not have that on my bingo card at all.
And are you prepared to do that now?
Of course. I mean, we've got our people working on it right now. I don't want to oversell how much time it will take. Right? We're digging in. We're going to be in full compliance with that executive order. Eager to provide that for the president.
It's on Bondi's desk.
So there'll be more coming on that as far as the process of what we'll do.
And what sort of time frame? Do you have any sense for how long this is going to take?
I don't have a time frame for you yet, but stand by. We'll get it for you.
8 to 10 years.
Do you think aliens are what's happening?
What?
Do you think aliens exist?
We'll see. I get to do the review and find out along with you.
Epstein, Trump, there's a UFO. You are being played. I wonder if there's enough people that are believing this stuff. It can't be. I'm pretty much sheltered, so I don't know. North Kakalaki man killed at Mar-a-Lago and another apparent Trump assassination attempt. I had never heard of this. Or someone mentioned it a bit earlier, but I don't know anything about it. Trump was not home when Austin Tucker Martin, they always have three names. They always got to bring out the full name. Breached Mar-a-Lago with a shotgun and a gas can. Did he bring out the Joe Biden shotgun video? Just have a shotgun. 21-year-old North Carolina man was shot and killed over the weekend when he brandished a shotgun and law enforcement had to break it through the security perimeter once the future King President DJT's Mar-a-Lago resort. How's this? I don't see how this is. This doesn't sound like a smart idea anyway. 1:38 a.m. on February the 22nd, a man later identified Austin Tucker Martin breached the North Gate where he was met by 2 Secret Service agents and a Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputy who ordered him to drop the shotgun and gas can he was carrying. He dropped the can but raised the shotgun to a shooting position, which is pretty much the worst thing you could do, at which point authorities opened fire. Neither the president nor the first lady was present at the time. TMZ described him as outspoken about his Christian faith and political views and well-meaning about increasingly frustrated, particularly about the country. I don't know if you read up on the Epstein files, but evil is real and unmistakable. Oh boy. Watch them use this against us. Braden Fields, a 19-year-old cousin of Martin's, described him as a quiet, charitable, and not very vocally political. He wouldn't even hurt an ant. He doesn't even know how to use a gun. You've heard this one before. They said that about the guy that they have the patsy over in for Kirk's quote-unquote assassination. They say the same thing. March the third failed apparent assassination attempt. The first one was totally staged, by the way. I don't know, but the second one, it was kind of weird too. It's one of those things that I just don't buy until I find out. If I just don't trust the media that has lied to us the last how many decades, years, definitely. But yeah, Benedict, I thought that too. Sounds like MK Ultra, someone like that. All of a sudden, did they activate the guy, or was this just fake news? They present the body. There's no picture of a body, no nothing. Might get a photo or something, but you don't know. And in the end of the day, we have no idea what happened. We just have an article. They already stayed trying to link Mother Teresa. Yeah, they pretty much everybody everyone in the planet is pretty much in the Epstein things. There is a story about not Mother Teresa, but someone in the order years later that was doing something not so good regarding this. I don't know the whole story. You can look at it, you can type it up and look it up. But it's not Teresa herself. They're looking at somebody else years later. But again, but Mother Teresa, she always gets slammed through the mud. Mayhem rocks Mexico after most wanted cartel boss is killed. El Mencho was a longtime head of one of the nation's most powerful cartels. Armed groups set fire to cars and buildings across Mexico in the wake of his death, because that's what you do after someone gets shot, is you just burn everything down. At least 73 people died in the attempt to capture a Mexican cartel leader and its violent aftermath. CNN, U.S. citizens in Mexico urged to continue sheltering in place as nation on edge following drug lords' killing. Yeah, no, I don't know personally, but I know of guys that are down there. Scheinbaum kills a drug lord and crosses her Rubicon. Here's some photos of it. Here's Derek Evans. Just in, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum is facing major backlash after repeatedly rejecting once future King President DJT's offer to deploy U.S. military force to crush the cartels fast, because that's what's wanting to do. They've been talking about getting down there and doing exactly this. They've been needing an excuse to do it. Claudia wasn't letting them do it, even though she's a friend of theirs and they're on the same team, but he couldn't get in. She wasn't allowing it to happen. Now they can come in. I think this is just the door opener, a little false flag thing. They bring all this in. Here's Spiro. Could the chaos in Mexico be a deliberate setup to justify direct U.S. intervention? Don't forget, U.S. Special Forces are officially in Mexico right now training elite units. Intel agencies run the drug and gun trade. Boots on the ground training today equal intervention tomorrow. Yes, Arrow says problem, reaction, solution. And don't forget, they're part of the Technate, North American Technate. Yes, I've heard that too about the special forces in it. Here's Dan Dix. He's down there. So what happened is Anarcho-Poco is a alt media thing they have, convention that they have down there every year. A bunch of alt media guys I listen to go down for this event. Corbett usually zooms in from Japan. He's been there before, but now he just zooms in. So all these guys are there, which I was telling my wife there. It's hysterical, and it's funny in the sense that these are alt media guys that never get any publicity. Now they're getting a ton of publicity if they're video and recording what's going on, because they are at ground zero for this. And now people are reaching out to them.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, coming at you here live in Porto Vallarta, Mexico. Just had the military driving past me, and as I understand it, I should not be around anywhere where the police or the military are, because they are the target right now. As you can see, there's this whole place is like deserted right now because there's burning cars back there, burning cars right here, still smoldering, and the situation is incredibly intense. As I'm sure you've already heard, there was a top drug lord cartel member, El Mencho, who has been killed. I believe there was a $15 million bounty on this man's head, and he is now dead. And that has caused this whole situation to pop off. The place looks like an absolute war zone right now, folks. Cartel has been setting up blockades in the streets, stopping cars. A whole bus was set on fire. You've got cartel members who,
I don't know if Dan supports Alex. He was on Alex. I don't know how much he supports. I hadn't talked to him in a while. I used to communicate with him years ago during Rona days. Yeah, but he was on Alex. But guys are going to reach out to him because he's been posting stuff out.
Literally.
And I'm not saying I'm an Alex Jones guy. Alex is sold out to the Trump thing long ago. There's a lot of problems with Jones, but this is a legit thing.
They look like the military. These guys are serious. These guys mean business. Costco was set on fire. A hospital was under attack. People running for their lives. There was the Guadalajara airport that was under attack. People literally,
the fraternity parish in Guadalajara is right there,
running all over the place, screaming and crying. The Porto Vallarta airport as well has had a big scare. A lot of people were evacuated on the tarmac. Had to run out on the runway to get away from the intense situation, and it seems like it's not about to slow down anytime soon. As I understand it, the cartel have announced that they are going to be entering private homes and potentially hotel resorts at 5 p.m. Our time if their demands are not met. So
now I haven't heard anything from the fraternity parish. I probably need to text Father Heenan up and see how they are doing out there, but I haven't heard anything. A couple people have reached out asking the same thing, but I assume they're good. But let's see what else Dan has on here. Oh yeah, that's when he went to Peter Thiel. Yeah, that's the show that Alex was on. He was on Alex Jones' show 3 hours ago. Rebel News had him on. Rebel News is in Canada too. Aaron Schroyer had him on because, like I said, he's there. Still nowhere when he can turn home. Forced to book multiple nights at the hotel at a new, more expensive rate. Shocker. Let's just see if anybody else. I don't know anybody else I don't follow anybody else that's there. Like I said, Corbett would be. Yeah, I'm sure he's taking a lot of interviews right now. I bet it's good. In a sense, it's good for his numbers. His numbers go up for it. Not to say that he wants that for it, but is this the same article? Yeah, same article. My bad. Oh yeah, here's iCatholic Mobile. Maybe help some friends of mine. I mean, pay the bills a little bit. iCatholic Mobile. Oh yeah, don't have it right here. To share screen. So if you guys all have cell phones, switch over to iCatholic Mobile. Same price, except you're not paying for abortionists or weird marriages, things like that. You're helping a Catholic company, and the Catholic company, they'll give free cell phone and internet service. So again, iCatholic Mobile, I switched over. It was really easy. They were very friendly with me on that. Quick and easy paying. quick and easy switch. And I haven't complained yet. In sports, a little bit. We'll have more sports later. U.S. hockey team declines Trump's State of the Union invite. The only reason it's up here is because of the State of the Union. The White House invited U.S. women's hockey team to attend once the future King President DJT's State of the Union on Tuesday. But the players said they were not able to attend. I wouldn't either. Who cares? I would not. We're talking about a waste of time to go to a pep rally, a political pep rally, and just go, they mock Trump for going to sleep in his meetings that he's not talking in. I would do the same. It would be an utter waste of time, or be used for whatever he's talking about. So I would not not going to go to State of the Union. If anybody's upset about them for it, you go to the State of the Union. Come out and say how much fun that was. It's boring. HuffPo. There's a name for the discomfort you're feeling watching the Olympics right now. If waving the American flag or chanting USA turns you off right now, you're not alone. I've been that way for over a decade. So people get mad at me all you want. I had no connection with the hockey team. I'm in the South. I'm in North Carolina. Hockey's not a sport here. People up north couldn't wait. New York opened up the liquor bars at 6 to 10 a.m. on Sunday. And I heard a couple of people sermon-wise saying, you better be at mass tomorrow. I got because the gold medal game was Sunday morning. And, but yeah, here, no one cared. It's hockey. You have no connection. Unlike Benny, who said that's our culture. I think I have that up here. I could have sworn I had it. Benny Johnson said, that's our culture. And I'm like, that's not a culture. And Benny's in Florida. Hockey's not part of our culture. Now, if you're just a nationalist, yeah, all right, fine. Now, I know there's guys that played in Maine, New York, wherever there else. Wouldn't you have rather been more jacked if you lived in Massachusetts? You had the Team Massachusetts up there, or Benedictine. Say the Minnesota team Minnesota was in the gold medal team. If South Carolina had a hockey team, who'd be watching it? This guy. And even though I don't like hockey, Team South Carolina's in the gold. You darn right, we will be watching. Like the Summer Olympics, there was a couple track ladies from South Carolina. I watched them. Didn't care about the other guys. Most of them from Texas. I don't care. South Carolina people, North Carolina people. Yeah, I watched it. I was excited. I was hoping they'd win. That's team pride. Yeah, Jamaica had a bobsled team. I watched it. They ran into the wall. Let's see. We in high school, you got time off. Yeah, but you did. People in the bars at 8 a.m. Unless they went to 7 a.m. mass. Sorry, that makes hockey your god. Yeah, I mean, I love sports, but the idol of sports is a big thing. Just like everyone joked about if say Carolina had a playoff game when there was 11 inches of snow here. Nobody went to mass because everything got closed, but you guarantee people would have gone to that stadium. Now, would it be the people that missed mass going to the stadium? No, they wouldn't have done that. The regular people would have. I'm always kind of confused. In Denver, Colorado, there's a weed bar. Church of weed. People actually got up in the morning to go to that thing. I'm like, wow, you talk about weird dedication. Why would you get up to go to the church of weed to listen to bad music? But I don't know. Anyway, here's the Atlantic. Eileen Gu, born to a Chinese immigrant mother and American father, has won 5 medals, the most by any female freestyle skier in Olympic history. Her decision to compete for China instead of these United States has drawn criticism from Vice President J.D. Vance. He said, I certainly think that somebody who grew up in the United States of America benefit from our educational system, from our freedoms and liberties that make this country a great place. I would hope that they want to compete with the United States of America. But other people from other areas come here and do that, but that's cool. They're not traitors. But if you do it against here, apparently it is. Let me go to the obsessed watch. Yeah, I get it. No, I was telling a friend of mine at the gym today, we watch curling. We watched almost every minute of curling, but I had it on replay, so no commercials, and was able to fast forward through, some of the downtimes. But it was. I mean, that was fun. I mean, I didn't watch. We watched a little bit of skiing, a couple bobsled, the skeleton, which I think is pretty much just, hey, let's throw somebody, let's Superman them. Yeah, how fast you want to get? I always liked the Jerry Seinfeld joke on the involuntary luge. And it's just the luge. It's just somebody on a luge, you slow them down. What they had to do is just grab somebody off the streets. Hey, John, world record. Didn't even know what he was doing. That was my thing. I'd be like, do the involuntary luge. Mel says there are currently 23,000 American Jews in Israel right now because they chose to serve in the IDF instead of the U.S. military. That is significantly more treasonous than participating in the Olympics under another country's flag. Amen. I don't give two what. If someone else wants to go, hey, I'm gonna go to this team. You know what they call that? It's like free agency. Anytime no one called. People get upset when Julius Peppers was in Carolina, went to Chicago. People booed him. But they opened up their arms afterwards when he came back. I know that. But anybody calls? No, she ain't a traitor. She went over and played. Plus, where her mom was from, there. I don't care. I mean. Again, there's about 12 athletes from other countries that came here to do that. No, the skater is someone else. The skater, she was at least something. And apparently the story goes with her is that her dad is Chinese and he pushed her a lot, and to the point that she didn't want to do it anymore. So she wanted to do it again, but on her terms. Now she could be she's kind of a wackadoo. I think I did find something that said that she was young and naive at the time, so she dropped the whole pronoun garbage and things like that. I don't know. She did pierce her forearm, which I don't know why she would do that. But she did a good job skating. I mean, again, when someone plays or is skating like that, you know what? First thing I don't think of, Elisa Liu. Yeah, Elisa Liu. That's it. I do not care what their politics are when they're participating in something like that. I wonder if they're good or not. If Carolina's playing, and I never thought, wow, I wonder what Cam Newton thinks about that. No, I hope he hits the open guy across the route. That's right. Yeah, her father was part of Tenement Square. You're right. That's it. I thought I heard something like that. I saw a video of a priest doing Eucharistic. I did too, but I wasn't sure what that was. I didn't. Now she said that, I know exactly. He was on top of a building, right? I think that was exactly what your thing. These are both treasonous. The CCP will use that as propaganda. It serves the communists. Cigar mode. All due respect, man. There's communists here too. The federal government is communist since the 1860s. So communists aren't just in China. We go through the 10 pillars of communism in these United States. You check off all 10 here. It's as one guy at the gym said, I will not say that we live in a communist country. Well, denial is not just the river in Egypt. You do live in a communist area. See. I forgot about this. Fox News reports that dozens of Democrats plan to skip President Trump's State of the Union address. I also plan to skip it. Unless somebody wants to do a show and we just do it like a Mystery Science Theater version of it, I ain't watching it. I'll get the clips after. Opting to attend a left-leaning People's State of the Union rally at the National Mall instead. Just do something else. There's no reason to go there. It's just a political thing. Ron Paul Institute. What's really behind Mexico's cartel wars? Today on the report. CIA. It's communist, dude. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. State controlled. Yes, it's communist. Yeah, there's Freemasonry. There's Freemasonry all over. Freemasonry in China. There's Freemasonry in Spain. There's Freemasonry everywhere. It's not as big as it used to be. In the founding, they were all big-time Freemasons. And that was in the 1700s. But yeah, communism, that's why you look up the 1848ers. They call them the 48ers. They came over. They got into the way they called it the Red Republicans after the 1860s. Why do you think their color is red still? And that's just not because they picked one off the thing. They're red because they were the Red Republicans. They're communists right at the beginning. And that's the beginning of that party. And that party is the same party as the 1860s. The Democrats of today is an offshoot of that same party. They're both communists. They're all communists. Again, you look at what they've done. 10 out of 10 check mark on the communist planks. They're all that. Here's Eric Trump. I'm so proud to announce that what will soon be the tallest building in Australia, Trump International Hotel in Tower Gold Coast. This marks our first venture into Australia, an extraordinary country in every respect. I couldn't be more excited to help shape its iconic skyline forever. If you need to drink anything, check out Old Northwood Wines. Friends of mine up in Illinois, they run a winery. But when you buy these wines, up to 50% of the profits go to like the Benedictine sisters of Mary, Queen of the Apostles. Or if you get the Cancian Red, where is it? Shop Our Wines. Cancian Red goes to help St. John Cancius for the restoration of the sacred. Those Mother's Reserve helps the Benedictine nuns. And these help, they got little different projects. They'll help seminarians. And soon will be the Lawrence Fathers wine. I think it should be any day now. They just have to, what they have to do, they have to get those labels approved. Yeah. That's just, and Heather, here, I'll put it in the chat. This wine's legit wine. They are really good. They do ship to all the states. If you like wine, this is some good stuff. I am not a wine connoisseur. So I do, if someone gives me a glass of wine, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, this is some good wine. Even my neighbor, they ran a winery, and I gave, they used to run a vineyard. I'm sorry. See, I don't even know the lingo. They have bottles in their garage. They're older, retired. I gave them a bottle just for being a friendly neighbor. And because they sent me a box down and I gave one away to them. And they go, wow, this is really good. So I told if those guys like it, you know it's good. FBI, back to sports. This is fantastic. FBI Director Kash Patel pounds a beer and gets rowdy with Team USA locker room after thrilling gold medal hockey win. Because he told everybody he wasn't there. And your taxpayer money to him over there. And all the memes have been great since, you know, how many arrests that Kash has made over the Epstein files. We'll play this real quick. Poor cross-eyed Kash.
I'm just saying Chris Wray doesn't need a government-funded G5 jet to go to vacation. Maybe we ground that plane. $15,000 every time it takes off. Just a thought.
Here's the next one. Again, Clown Planet. Oh, forgot to hit that one. There we go. Just some of Kash Patel's government jet joyrides, date nights with his girlfriend in Tennessee, a luxury hunting getaway in Texas, a golf trip in Scotland, partying with the USA men's hockey team in Milan. Must be fun not doing your job on the taxpayer's dime. Jeffrey Epstein stashed secret files and storage units across the U.S. that may include never before seen evidence. Eric Sprackton, would be nice if the FBI director was looking into this instead of chugging beers in Italy. Nobody would care about him having a drink with the team if he actually did the job. If he was if he was arresting people, which there won't be any arrests, if he was arresting people left and right on the Epstein thing, shoot, people would buy him beers. So you get all these cheerleaders, all people are up, all these lefties upset that he's chugging a beer. No, anybody that isn't a cheerleader brown noser is saying that. Judges grow angry over Trump administration violating their orders at least 35 times since August. Federal judges have ordered the administration to explain why it should not be punished for violating their orders in immigration cases because they're above the law. The Pentagon flags risk of a major operation against Iran. The warnings have been led by General Dane Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff within the Defense Department and during meetings of the National Security Council. The Pentagon is raising concerns to Once a Future King President DJTs about the extended military campaign against Iran. I'm about to say Ireland, advising that war plans being considered carry risks, including U.S. and allied casualties, depleted air defenses, and an overtaxed force. The warnings have been largely voiced by General Dan Kane. Pentagram leaders also have noticed similar worries. Such discussions are always part of the contingency planning process before military operations, noting that military leaders, especially the Joint Chiefs, do they know that that's at M space? Provide prudent estimates, possible casualties, and other potential costs to military operations. Options being studied for strikes on Iran range from initial limited strikes to a days-long aerial campaign armed at toppling the regime. All options carry risk, but a prolonged campaign in particular could incur significant costs to U.S. forces and munition stockpiles, officials said, complicating the protection of regional partners if Iran is able to retaliate, and they will, if the U.S. uses up large amounts of air defense munitions and other items that are in limited supply. It could also impact preparations for a possible future conflict with China. And the U.S. has assembled the largest amount of air power in the Middle East since the 2003 Iraq War, including an aircraft carrier strike group. A second carrier is now in the Mediterranean. General Kane is the highest respected professional whose job requires providing unbiased information to the commander-in-chief, which he does perfectly, says White House spokeswoman Anna Kelly. President Trump listens to feedback from all members of the national security team, and he's always the final decision maker. Kane, who has held posts in the Pentagram's most highly... I sometimes try to say Pentagon, but I've said Pentagram so many times about it, it just comes out naturally anymore. I think I tell people just regular conversation, I wonder if they even go, what is he talking about? Do you mean Pentagram? Pentagon. Another Pentagram. My warped ideas. Here's Pepe Escobar. I clicked the wrong thing. Where am I at here? StreamYard. There he is. I'll put on Pepe real quick. Yeah, I hope it is saber rattling. I don't know if it is.
It happens. Over 70% of Americans don't want a war on Iran. They want solution for their economic problems. So if this is launched by the United States, it's bye-bye to the midterms, and Trump is instantly converted into a lame duck president. I'm sure among his, I would say, very mediocre inner circle, people are telling him that. This is the only thing that registers for him. So subcontracting the attack to Israel will be a way of, okay, we've got Israel's back. But it will backfire anyway, because the first counterattack by Iran will be directed against Israel. And it's not going to be like during the 12-day war. It's going to be totally devastating.
Yeah, they'll try to blow it off
the U.S. is gathering a whole armada around the Middle Eastern nation, how likely is this move going to help Washington to avoid being designated as an initiator of war, in your opinion?
Well, for the whole global south, this means almost 90% of the planet. That's what it is. It may not be for the vassals in Europe and some of the vassals in West Asia, right? Middle East is the British denomination. So everybody knows that, and everybody knows this is unprovoked war because there is a negotiating track going on. They're going to meet this Thursday again. And Foreign Minister Arakshi, he has to explain this 24/7. Everybody in the region outside knows that Iran does not possess nuclear weapons.
Yes, they do. But we live in a time when the elected monarch can do whatever he wants. As Trump has said in Section 2, I can do whatever I want, which is a lie, but they all do act like that.
And does not want to possess nuclear weapons. This comes from over 40 years ago, the first fatwa by Ayatollah Khomeini, reiterated by Ayatollah Khamenei. But if they are forced to go for a nuclear program, they might revise that. But this is all hypotheticals. Iran does not need a military nuclear program. They need a civilian nuclear program, which is being proceeding very, very well since the JCPOA, which was almost 11 years ago, signed in Vienna. So we are in the middle of a gigantic fake news spread by a Zionist axis and by circles of power in the US that Iran wants nuclear weapons. This is beyond fake. And everybody who follows this dossier knows it.
What do you think this conflict could have on the Middle East?
It's not a conflict, Farida. This is a war. If it starts, it's going to be a serious war with global repercussions. Very important. And our audience, I'm sure, is aware of it. Russia and China are helping Iran directly, indirectly, covertly, with military equipment, with all those flights coming from China and from Russia for the past few weeks. So this is a war, if it's launched, not only against Iran, but against 3 BRICS nations, Russia, China, and Iran. So this is a war of the United States and Israel against BRICS. And it will be seen all across the global south as a war against the global south.
And as they said before, the Olympics are over. So it's time for war. Pretty much the timing of it. I wonder if he's going to bring it up during the well, they said he got 10 days. That's what he said to do it or else. So 10 days would be at the end of this week. 10 days would be at the end of this week. So if there's going to be a war, it's this weekend. Here is June 2025. Iran's key nuclear facilities have been totally obliterated. February 2026. We must start war with Iran to obliterate their nuclear facilities. We said this the next day. I said this the next day with others. That was a lie, that they did not obliterate. What happened was they told them, move their stuff. We're going to put a big hole in the ground and everyone's going to be fine. And then Iran's told them that they're going to shoot some stuff over at the U.S. groups, but those groups were already moved or vacant, and everything was going to be out. It looked on paper like, hey, they traded blows. Nothing happened. Total theater. Now, here we go. Megatron, breaking Pentagram urges Trump not to attack Iran. There will be massive casualties. Pentagram is raising concerns. The Winston Future King, President DJT, about the risk of extended military campaign against Iran. We already mentioned all this. Speaking of, let's go to War Pigs edition. Generals singing in their messes, just like witches at black masses. Trump, curious why Iran hasn't capitulated. Really? You wonder why? Because Iran's not like that. U.S. malls targeted strike on Iran, followed by a larger attack. Iran's FM, still a good chance for a deal with the U.S. It looks like Iran's looking to do something. The U.S. can't wait to bomb somebody. Israel may strike Lebanon, Yemen, Iraq in U.S.-Iran war. Those little suckers. They get us involved in Iran, and then they're going to go over and punch other people too while they're at it. 14 countries condemn Huckabee's comments. Israeli fire kills Palestinian women in northern Gaza. Heavy Israeli strikes on eastern Lebanon kills 12. Chaos in Mexico after army kills cartel leader. Iraq may drop Maliki as candidate after U.S. threats. Trump orders hospital ship to Greenland. We mentioned that. Slovakia gives Ukraine deadline to restore oil. And China scrambles fighters to confront U.S. warplanes. Here's Dave DeCamp of said antiwar.com. In his post denying that General Kane is warning of the risks of bombing Iran, Trump repeats the claim that he destroyed Iran's nuclear program a day after his diplomat, Steve Witkoff, claimed that Iran could be a week away from having material to make a bomb. What a joke. And this is from True Social. Numerous stories from the fake news media have been circulating, stating that General Daniel Kane, sometimes referred as Razan, is against us going to war with Iran because truth is confirming your mind of reality, and that's doggone reality. The story does not attribute this vast wealth of knowledge to anyone and is 100% correct. General Kane, like all of us, would like not to see war, but if a decision is going to be made going against Iran at a military level, it is his opinion that it would be something easily won. He knows Iran well, that he was in charge of the Midnight Hammer, the attack on the Iranian nuclear development. It is a development no longer, but rather was blown to smithereens by our great B-2 bombers. Razan Kane is a great fighter and represents the most powerful military anywhere in the world. He has not spoken of not doing Iran or even the fake limited strikes that I have been reading about. He only knows one thing, how to win, and if he is told to do so, he will be leading the pack. Everything that has been written about a potential war with Iran has been written incorrectly and purposely so. I am the one that makes the decision. I would rather have a deal than not, but if we don't make a deal, it would be a very bad day for that country and very sadly its people, because they are great and wonderful, and something like this should never have happened to them. This one put the ticker on. There's the Trump administration is finally admitting they did not obliterate anything.
Beyond.
So the future of the Middle East largely also depends on what happens in Iran. Based on what you've seen in the negotiations that you've been part of, what could a deal actually look like with this regime?
You know, they say that it's all about their civil program, and yet they've been enriching well beyond the number that you need for civil nuclear. It's up to 60%. They're probably a week away from having industrial grade bomb making material, and that's really dangerous. So can't have that. This is something that they have to stick with until they prove to us that they can behave.
So the future
stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
Yes, this is 40. This is the video of 30 years flying the curve. 30 years of they're 1 week away from having a nuclear bomb. They'll do it any day now. Here's Last Mega Vagabond. Gee, I wonder why all this is happening in Iran. Let me see if I can play that. Aren't we always at war? Yes. There's a thing saying that anybody born after 2001 have never seen peace.
This starts, and it's really fascinating to go back. It starts in 1996 with Netanyahu, who wrote a book called Fighting Terrorism. And the thesis of the book is quite straightforward and very dangerous. He says, there's Hamas, there's Hezbollah, they oppose Israel. It's not good for us to fight them directly. That won't work. What we need to do is topple the governments that back them. So what we need is regime change throughout the Middle East. And he actually gave a long list of 7 countries that included Syria, Libya, Iraq, Iran, Somalia, Sudan, and Lebanon. And systematically the United States has done Netanyahu's bidding for almost 30 years now.
If you take away the Soviet Union and its chief proxy, the PLO, international terrorism would collapse.
If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. Obviously, we'd like to see a regime change, at least I would, in Iran, just as I would like to see in Iraq. The question now is a practical question. What is the best place to proceed? It's not a question of whether Iraq's regime should be taken out, but when should it be taken out? It's not a question of whether you'd like to see a regime change in Iran, but how do it...
Are there any other nations that you would recommend that the United States launch preemptive attacks upon at this point?
The answer is categorically yes. The two nations that are vying, competing with each other, who will be the first to achieve nuclear weapons, is Iraq and Iran. But a third nation, by the way, is Libya as well. Libya is trying very rapidly to build an atomic bomb capability. So you have here now three nations.
All stand together to stop Iran's march of conquest, subjugation, and terror. I know that no matter on which side of the aisle you sit, you stand with Israel.
What terrorists do is target the innocent deliberately. And therefore, my definition of terrorism is the systematic and deliberate attack, the murder, maiming, and menacing of innocents, civilians, for political goals. You can tell a lot about terrorists, but what happens when they come to power? Those who fight for freedom and come to power do not impose terrorism. Those who do, who fight in terroristic means, end up as being masters of terrorist states.
I frankly think that crisis initiation is really tough. And it's very hard for me to see how the United States president can get us to war with Iran. Which leads me to conclude that if, in fact, compromise is not coming, that the traditional way of America gets to war is what would be best for U.S. interests. Some people might think that Mr. Roosevelt wanted to get us into World War II, as David mentioned. You may recall we had to wait for Pearl Harbor. Some people might think Mr. Wilson wanted to get us into World War I. You may recall he had to wait for the Lusitania episode. Some people might think that Mr. Johnson wanted to send troops to Vietnam. You may recall he had to wait for the Gulf of Tonkin episode. We didn't go to war with Spain until the until the Maine exploded. And may I point out that Mr. Lincoln did not feel he could call out the Federal Army until Fort Sumter was attacked, which is why he ordered the commander at Fort Sumter to do exactly that thing, which the South Carolinians had said would cause an attack. So if, in fact, the Iranians aren't going to compromise, it would be best if somebody else started the war. But I would just like to suggest that one can combine other means of pressure with sanctions. I mentioned that explosion on August 17th. We could step up the pressure. I mean, look, people, Iranian submarines periodically go down. Someday one of them might not come up. Who would know why? We can do a variety of things if we wish to increase the pressure. I'm not advocating that, but I'm just suggesting that this is not a either or proposition of, it's just sanctions has to have.
He's talking about false flags. And meanwhile, here's one of the USS George. Yeah, I forgot the name. The USS Gerald Ford toilets. 80% of the toilets are completely stuck, waste backing up and flowing in reverse. Join the Navy. One of the most expensive aircraft in the world. Hold on, let me play this.
The planned US attack on Iran has a hitch. Most of the bomb targeting crew are busy queuing for toilets on the lead vessel. the USS Gerald R. Ford. This is not a joke. A set of emails was obtained by NPR, a US public broadcasting group, revealing that toilet wars have broken out on board the most expensive ship the US Navy ever built. And the Wall Street Journal followed up to confirm the tale today. TLDR summary: there are too few functioning toilets for 4,600 sailors, and the problem is worsening daily. Problem 1, design planners screwed up by including too few toilets for 4,000 plus sailors, leading to 45-minute queues on a daily basis. Problem 2, engineers screwed up by installing a fragile vacuum system in which a single valve breakdown on one toilet can stop all the toilets in an entire department functioning, making the queues even longer. Problem 3, some of the temporary repair operations, such as using an acid flush to clear out calcium buildups, can only be done while the ship is docked. No prospect of that. But with so many toilets out of order, too much pressure is put on the ones still working, so the problem will just spread. And the issues have already been mounting for more than a year. A March 18th, 2025 email from the engineering department sent out to all chiefs on the ship said there were 205 toilet breakdowns in 4 days, the NPR reported. Now, the ship is at the heart of US overseas attack operations, working for months in waters near Venezuela to support the abduction of the country's president and the seizing of ships carrying oil to customers around the world. And the ship is now heading the planned regime change operation in Iran. Israel wants a pro-Netanyahu leader installed, as the US has done in many other countries. But how can they attack Iran while staff are queuing for the loo? One result of all this is a war of words between sailors and onboard sewage staff called hull technicians, or HTs. One sewage engineering chief complained that sailors put all sorts of problematic material down the toilets. Even T-shirts were found clogging the pipes. Our sewage system is being mistreated and destroyed by sailors on a daily basis. My HTs are currently working 19 hours a day right now, trying to keep up with the demand. The US taxpayer spent $13 billion on this ship. On the plus side, it'd be delightful if the carrier's desperate lack of functioning toilets caused the attack on Iran to be cancelled or postponed.
We got Toilet Gate, ladies and gentlemen. Most expensive. You can't make this stuff up. Here's my bud Jason's the Martyrs Walk. So the deal is, it's pretty much a Catholic boot camp. Probably about 5 minutes away from me. They'd use the grounds down there at the Camp Thunderbird on the lake. And so it's a Catholic boot camp. They have 4 a year. And what the fund is if there's any kind of natural disasters, he helps out with that. Or if someone wants to come in and they can't afford to do the boot camp, that money goes to helping them bring them on to increased manliness in individuals. Trump's top general foresees acute risk in an attack on Iran. Oh yeah, this is great. Forgot about this. British Film Awards interrupted by racist slur for man with Tourette syndrome. Okay, so the man was John Davison, the subject of a British indie film, I Swear. So Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo is on stage. You can hear him yell a word that Davison who has long campaigned for awareness of the condition, told CNN before the ceremony he was worried about an involuntary tics that market. No kidding. The actor Robert Aramaro, who plays him, went on to win the Knight's Award for Best Actor. Davidson said the young English actor studied him closely, asking questions like, when you have a tic, do you know where it comes from? What about a tic trigger? Speaking on a crowd red carpet, Davidson went on certain things like today, lots of people around. I'm feeling very, more tics in case I lash out. Different situations can trigger different emotions and tics and stuff. The audience had been warned before the ceremony that tics or involuntary swearing could occur, and Davison received large applause inside the hall. After the incident, host Alan Cumming asked for understanding for the strong and offensive language. He reminded the crowd that Tourette syndrome is a disability and tics were involuntary and said, "We apologize if you were offended tonight." Why would he go? It's like, if I was in charge, I'd be like, "You ain't coming, dude." I mean, I think there's F-bombs, all kinds of stuff being dropped. Just one of the things. One of our teammates, in college baseball. He had Tourette's, and one time he grunted the national anthem, and he was cool with everything about it. Since everyone was friends, this was summer league. Yeah, this was summer ball. And we were on the ground laughing, almost cracking up because everyone looking at us going, y'all going to hell. But we knew him. We were friends. So it was just hysterical. We didn't know if he was faking it or being real at the time, too. Kennedy defends Trump glyphosate order. Maha erupts as midterms approach. We mentioned this last week. In weather, deadly bomb cyclone Hernando slams the Northeast as record snowfall causes 570,000 plus power outages. Apparently in the Northeast, it is pretty much buried underneath snow. I think I saw 20-something inches in some places. The Dow is the worst day in a month. It's not up 50,000 anymore. The Dow is the worst day in a month as Trump looks to impose replacement tariffs. He's going to tariff harder. Why don't people with Tourette's ever yell something good like this? Yeah, exactly. Refunds from Trump's struck down tariffs remain up in the air. U.S. companies could stand to get billions and billions back in tariff-related refunds after SCOTUS ruled against Trump's signature economic initiative. I'm sorry for you, anybody that's not a corporation like you and me, we don't get jack back. Senate Democrats have introduced legislation requiring the Trump administration to refund $175 billion in illegal tariff revenue to American taxpayers. That would be nice. Ain't happening. Don't think about it. They don't have the money either. 10th Amendment Center, talking about Justice Neil Gorsuch, details how Thomas Alito and Kavanaugh's past votes in similar major questions doctrine cases cannot be reconciled with their present votes in support of Trump's tariffs. 10th Amendment Center, his opinions slam both the left and the right. Got to give the guy credit for holding the line. And good, I'm with him. They were illegal. It was illegal. Why do you think the war for Southern independence happened? It was over tariffs. Zuckerberg's fix for child safety could end anonymous internet access for everyone. Zuckerberg spent 5 hours defending Instagram's design choices and walked out having handed legislators and regulators their preferred blueprint for a national digital ID system. Drink. Told you so Tuesday, a day early. Eating 30 plants a week can transform your gut health, and it's easier than it sounds. Yeah, exactly. One health guru shares his affordable tips for meeting this magic number while still enjoying meat and the odd supermarket meal deal. And being in the time of Lent, you shouldn't be eating anything anyways. You all out there better be fasting. And I'm saying that as, yes, you should be fasting. And I just also, if you're not, then come on, what you doing? Unless you just can't and you're pregnant or nursing or something like that. Hey guys, man up, do some fast. You should see your pants should fit a little bit looser by the end of this time. Anyways, but if you're eating herbs and things like that, putting some herbs in, there's some things right there. If you're staying away from meat the entire 40, good on you. Others eventually get that around to do it, but that's where you get the herbs from. There's a lot of herbs that have protein in it. There's a lot of herbs that have a lot of good stuff in it. You get some moringa leaves in you. You're pretty good. You'll get your daily. You'll have your nutrients in you. So I didn't see what this whole plan was, but depending on the time of the year, you can't do a lot with it. Eat yogurt with granola for breakfast every day. And sometimes maybe you have that yogurt for dinner during Lent. Those look pretty good, though. Have a go-to salad in every supermarket. You could grow your own salad in your backyard. Buy a blender. Yep. Buy frozen herbs rather than fresh or dried. If you grow them, they're actually way better for you. Stock up on jars. Yeah, you can make your own jars too. Here is the high wire, germ versus terrain theory. Now, if you don't know what this is, check on that. Dr. Sam Bailey talks about this. Germ theory is pretty much if you got germs, get sick. They tried this experiments during the Spanish flu, which started in Kansas. People would be in the same room with them. They'd cough on them. And the thing was, nobody got sick. I mean, literally you cough on them. And the theory in germ theory would, if you cough on somebody, you hear this all the time, that you would catch that cold. Germs will come in you and you get sick. It didn't happen. So that's where terrain theory comes in. As in terrain, your body is healthy so that you're even if whatever comes at you, your terrain can fight it back. So it's not like say like you are in tip-top shape, everything's inside, gut health, everything health is just good to go. You could walk into a room, people yakking, throwing up, whatever, and come out, you're totally cool because your terrain is up to a perfect condition. You're drinking the right water, purified, all that stuff, mineralized, purified. You're using the right toothpaste, the non-fluoride, and you're eating the right food that's not poison and things like that. You're drinking the real milk. All that stuff goes that you're not breathing in poison air. Maybe you got plants that will purify the air and things like that. I got plants all over the place doing that. Anyways, that's germ versus terrain theory. So yeah, check this out if you want to look at it. It was a late edition, so I'll stick it in the chat here if anybody wants to check it out. And let's see, this day in history. 1540, Coronado leads expedition to find the 7 cities of Cibola. 2000, Carlos Santana won 8 Grammys, including Supernatural, tying the record set by Michael Jackson. That was it. That was just because of 1965. Stan Laurel, the comedy duo of Laurel and Hardy, died at 74. 1945, 6 U.S. servicemen raised the American flag over Mount Suribachi at the island of Iwo Jima in World War II. 1870, Mississippi Queen. Dun, 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 dun. Mississippi was readmitted to the United States following the American War for Southern Independence. The state has seceded from the Union in January 1861. Should have stayed out. 1836, during the Texas Revolution, Mexican General Antonio Lopez de Santana Anna began the siege of the Alamo, which was captured after 13 days, in which, for Texans, a symbol of heroic resistance, invoking the phrase, remember the Alamo. And now today, by the way, there's a lot of Freemasons that were fighting him, by the way, if you look that up, against Santana Anna. 1822, Boston, home of the culture cornerstones such as the Boston Symphony Orchestra, blah, 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 blah. It was granted a charter to become a city by the state, which Massachusetts could revoke that charter anytime it wants. 1865, composer George Friedrich Handel, you heard the Handel Hallelujah, the leading figure of late Baroque music, if it ain't Baroque, don't fix it, was born in Germany. Thanks, guys, for checking it out, keeping with me. All this, we've gone for an hour and 20 minutes, almost an hour and a half. Great googly moogly. Time to get out of here. Like, subscribe, click all that jazz in the show notes. God bless you. Have a great rest of the night. See you on Wednesday for a hump day. God love you. Thank you very much.